Hello, hello. Uh, it's Meg and Trev, and this is Solidarity Side Chats, episode 6. Trev, how are you doing?
I'm doing so fabulous, Meg. It's good to be back. We had a little brief hiatus, a
Yes.
lot going on. We had to rebuild after that brutal hurricane.
That hurricane, yeah.
Hurricane Hillary just knocked us out. So we've rebuilt. We will never forget. Hashtag never forget Hurricane Hillary.
Right.
Anyway, it's been a couple weeks, I think, since we spoke to anyone. So this week's Solidarity Side Chat, we've got two big stories that everyone's talking about. Tucker Carlson interviews a guy named Larry Sinclair, who allegedly had sex with Barack Obama and
Yes.
amongst other things. It's super credible, really the peak of American journalism. And then, of course, a man who I think if he was out of the news for 1 week, he might die. I think he needs to be in the headlines for some reason.
Who is this
Elon Musk.
Elon.
Elon Musk, once again, this time new details have surfaced about why he really chose to buy Twitter and then turn it into X, specifically his communist transgender daughter. We will get into the details on all of that. The circus, the Elon Musk circus never ever ceases to entertain. But I think we start this week with Tucker Carlson took to his online internet chat show. We used to call it his Twitter show, but Twitter is no more, as you all know. So it's his X show.
X show. That sounds awful.
It's horrible. It's all bad. It replaced his ex Fox News show.
Yeah.
He no longer has. So Tucker Carlson interviewed this guy named Larry Sinclair, who claims, among other things, that he did crack cocaine and had sex with President Barack Obama way back in the year 1999. They were truly partying like it was 1999.
1999, yeah.
They truly
Y2K.
were. That's right. That's how Obama wanted to spend the final moments on Earth once the computers all shut everything
Yeah.
down. Who could blame him? If the world was truly ending, I can't
Go
think of a
out
better
that way.
way.
That sounds great.
Can't think of a better way to end it. Anyway,
Wow.
so, obviously nobody thinks this really happened. Mainstream media ignored this largely as they should. I mean, the details of this guy, where to begin? First of all, Sinclair has a criminal history. He has multiple aliases, such as Larry Vizcarra Avila and Mohammed Gahanan. I mean, he's
It's
racked
a
up.
long rap sheet.
Yes, exactly. He's
'Cause
racked
it
up.
was like he did forgery and
Yes.
other things. Like, I mean, he's a felon, right?
He's a felon. He's racked up multiple arrests and convictions, including for fraud. He served a long stint in jail, during which he behaved so badly that he had to be disciplined, allegedly 97 times, from what
Wow.
I have been reading. And so, here's the reality. Tucker Carlson does not actually think any of this happened. If he did, he would have interviewed him on his Fox show years and years ago. I
Yeah.
mean, the details of this are not really new. It was stuff that first came out when Obama was running for president, and it was ignored then, and it should have been ignored now. But Tucker Carlson
It's
has
desperate.
he's reached a moment of desperation. And the real story here is not Larry Sinclair and Obama having gay sex and doing crack. The real story here is how much deplatforming clearly works. For a long time we had this argument that fascists, we call them conservatives, but most of them that identify this way, like Tucker, are clearly fascists, and echo that rhetoric. But the argument was that we had to platform them. We had to give them platforms, or we had to allow them to have them, and we need to invite them to the table and debate and win in the marketplace of ideas. I think Alex Jones was the first big example, and Tucker now is the second. Both of these dudes are still out there floating around in
Flailing.
internet space.
They're trying.
But they are toiling away in relative obscurity. Now, Tucker is a little higher profile than Alex Jones for the time being. Alex Jones, I think, really fell off. I mean, he has his cult following, but most people, particularly the mainstream, have stopped talking about him. And Tucker, especially if he's going down this path, appears to be going on a similar trajectory. I mean, this is a guy who just a few weeks ago interviewed Trump himself. And yes, if you look at the Twitter numbers, which, who knows how much we can trust those with who's running the show over there. And it's by the way, it's just easier to call it Twitter. I can't call it X. I'm not honoring it.
It's just weird.
It's
just weird. I think we should just do it out of protest. It's Twitter. People will know what we're talking about. Like,
also, if you look at the links, like it still says twitter.com. Like it's such a mess in every way.
It's awful.
It's so bad.
Awful. But yeah, no, I mean, like this whole thing, I mean, like you're saying, this Larry Sinclair came out with this story back when Obama was running for president, correct? Right. And nobody picked it up. Nobody gave it any airtime. And now we have Tucker Carlson, who I just called the Chicken King. He's basically like giving this airtime, and it's like, well, why? And it's because he's trying to make something out of nothing. He's trying to go and like get the clicks and get the views and everything, but it's not responsible journalism. It's not. And so like that's the thing that I think is very, like, you have this platform, like what does he even claim to be? Because I think like Fox tried to say that he's entertainment, right?
Well, that was in sort of private court hearings. For legal sake, they had to argue that he clearly wasn't a real journalist, but he presents himself as one to his audience.
Yes. And see, that's the problem with a lot of media that we have going on today. Just that, I mean, I don't know. What do you think the solution is, I guess? Because this is your cup of tea.
The solution clearly, I mean, in terms of people like Tucker having platforms, the solution is to just take him off of TV, which worked. I mean, it worked. He's now on Twitter, but I don't think anybody's watching. If people were watching and it was going well, he wouldn't have Larry Sinclair on. If things were going well, I don't think he would be interviewing this dude. It's clearly a desperate grab for attention, and it's not working. And I don't often give kudos to mainstream outlets in this country, but I do give them kudos for ignoring this because it's just so stupid and bottom of the barrel. And it almost harkens back to the cheap shock jock type entertainment that used to exist back in the day that died for good reason. In terms of the merits of this, I mean, you can find, especially living in a city like Los Angeles, not to disparage, the people at the bottom of the system here, but the reality is you can find any crazy person in the street who will make claims like this all around this country because we've neglected mental health and housing and all these sorts of things. So it really is just, you could find any person on many street corners in this country who have similar deranged claims and ramblings, and there's a reason why you can have sympathy for anyone struggling like that, but I'm not saying Larry specifically. He's clearly got quite a past, but just the average crazy person in this country, like sympathy to them because the system has failed them, but also you're not going to interview them on mainstream platforms and take seriously the claims they're making. And that is exactly what this is. And Tucker knows it. Tucker is well aware that what he's doing is nonsense, and he's pandering to the lowest common denominator amongst even his own audience, which is really saying something because it's a real bottom of the barrel in totality. So this is like the bottom of the bottom of the bottom of the barrel. Yeah, because
if he was wanting to go and kind of like upgrade his audience, you would think he would go for something a little bit more meaty. And like,
but
for me,
can't.
You know what I was even just thinking now, because it's like, I think within the left, when we're talking about responsible journalism and sensationalism and things like that, we've discussed this. It's just like, like we're always honest about where we're coming from as people, right? And like, for me, I'm just like, what would that look like? The equivalent of that look like on the right? Because like what Tucker Carlson is doing is absolutely not that.
You're asking if they were like transparent?
Yeah, well, I mean, not even I mean, I feel like, you know what, if they actually just like focused on the issues that matter, like if they wanted to focus on the economy and talk about that, because like what's their claim? The Bright claims to be about like the financial party.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, right. Give me a
You know,
break.
like, I mean, like, if they focused on that, but they don't want to focus on that. They don't want to focus on things that matter because
Because
they
they
would
don't
rather
actually
go and, like,
believe any of it. I mean, I'm sure some voters out there do because they're sort of buying the
yeah.
marketing,
But
whatever,
maybe, too,
but they
a
don't
lot
believe
of
it.
the people can't even understand what the economy, you know, those kind of conversations because of our education system.
Well, that's true. That's very intentional. If conservatives were to do honest, like be honest about where they're coming from, the titles of the show would have been like the Koch brothers news hour with Tucker Carlson, like
Yeah.
the oil company update, like that's it's all like dark evil Koch brothers money or oil company money or like or Peter Thiel funding this stupid post left like pseudo fascist online media stuff, like Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro, all those freaks
Yeah.
and ghouls. Like it's none of it's honest or in good faith, and at least not with these big player type guys on the
Yeah.
right. So they can't be honest because the honest like actual sincere description of where they're coming from and what their angle is a billionaire gave me a lot of money to spread right-wing conspiracies and make sure that the working class doesn't support left-wing policy and movements. That's really if they were being honest about it. And I mean, to some extent they are, in the sense of they attack the left and they attack and they call everybody Marxists and all that stuff. But the reason they're doing it is not actually why they say they're doing it. They say because if we allow the left to win, it'll destroy the country and American values. The reality is they're being paid lots and lots of money
Yeah.
to make sure that working class people in this country don't support legislation that would ever take away from the billionaires giving them lots of money to say silly nonsense like this. I mean, that's the gist of it.
Yeah. That's crazy. I mean, I don't even know what, like, who would go and tune into this and be like, yes, this is absolutely believable.
Well, that's what's interesting is even for by Tucker standards, it kind of is a new low point, I think. I don't know
Yeah.
how many I don't know how much of his audience really believes it. It's been a while since I talked to my relatives who watch him for reasons you can imagine.
Yes.
So I haven't checked in with those folks in a while. I don't really mingle in right-wing spaces that often on the internet or otherwise. So I didn't. I guess it would be interesting to see what the reaction was. But again, if they were really buying this,
Yeah.
they would be tuning in and he wouldn't have to resort to these measures anyway. There's also the problem Tucker has with the fact that his actual like median viewer from Fox News doesn't know how to open a PDF, let alone find a Twitter web show. I mean, when you cater to that boomer Fox News demographic and then you switch to Glenn Beck ran into a similar problem
Yeah.
thinking he could just hop over to the internet and start a big internet media libertarian empire. And he actually thought Glenn Beck actually thought he could be a post-Trump conservative, and he went on Samantha Bee's show when she had that TBS show, and they had this whole, like, Glenn Beck had this sort of come to Jesus, for lack of a better phrase, moment where he was recognizing the damage he caused when he was an incendiary figure on Fox News, and he was going to be the mindful conservative with his internet empire. And guess what? The ratings weren't there. And so Glenn Beck is now back to being what he always was, which is a ringleader of a right-wing circus. And so that's why they do what they do. Glenn Beck saw a similar fate. He's toiling away in obscurity to his, whatever percentage of cult followers remain with him. And Tucker is going to suffer the same fate. So the moral of this story is deplatform fascists and right-wing freaks. It works every time. They cannot recover. They can't because their audiences aren't actually that dedicated to them because what they do really isn't that valuable or artistic or unique. There's a million empty suits waiting to take the place of a guy like Tucker Carlson, and the same audience will tune in at the same time as long as they get the same, nonsense talking points. What Tucker did, there's no value to Tucker himself. Anybody, literally almost anybody, could do what these people do, and that's why they have no actual job security once they lose the backing of their major backers, in this case Fox News.
I'm sure they can pull themselves up by their bootstraps.
Exactly, Tucker. Some of that good old-fashioned free market.
Yeah.
Innovate, become the entrepreneur you want to be. Exactly. Anyway, one
Now,
note about this. Yeah,
Yes.
one note about this is that none other than Elon Musk himself has went on the record
Love
and
it.
said that the interview with Larry Sinclair was not super convincing. If you
Yeah.
can't rope Elon Musk into it,
That
I
is
mean,
not, yeah.
that's the
You
biggest
did nothing. You
moron.
did
That is like
not
the
win.
moron in chief. If you can't
Yeah.
get Elon
The
Musk to
chief twit.
believe, chief twit, exactly. If you can't get Elon Musk to believe what you're selling, you're not going to get any, because he's like the most gullible dude alive when you see the stuff he responds
Honestly,
to.
I was just thinking about that because I was like, this is literally just like every like plus 40 dude on the right that just believes any kind of conspiracy theory. I was like, this is so crazy that Elon Musk is even like falling into this like same parameter, or maybe it's by design though, because we were just talking about like how a lot of billionaires like go and like put out these conspiracy theories to go and divide people. So, I mean,
Yeah, there's definitely
maybe
some
he
of
doesn't
that.
even believe it himself, but he's just saying or appearing like he does because it benefits him in the long run.
Although, according to a recent report
Oh, yeah.
with anonymous sources over at Twitter, apparently he is addicted to ketamine. That's the
Oh,
and
really?
so it's some anonymous Twitter employee said he does a bunch of ketamine. In which case, it all kind of makes a little more sense.
Yeah, man.
What a mess. Anyway, that actually is a perfect segue to our next story, which is, of course, Elon Musk. As I can't remember how many times we've talked about them on this channel by now.
Yeah,
but
you know
it's
what it reminds me
endless.
of really quick? Is
Yeah.
that like, remember this happened, I think last year when we were doing some Twitch shows and like Kanye West was in the news like every week. And we were like, what else can we talk about? He's in the news all the time. It's the same thing, but with Elon Musk. It's like Elon Musk just keeps on going on and on and on and doing these crazy things. But what was the thing
Yeah.
that he said recently?
No, you brought up like how we used to talk about Kanye every week, and now we're talking about Elon Musk every week because they're like dying stars. Like
Yeah.
it's getting. I don't know anything about stars, so just disclaimer. But in my head, what it means
He's a falling
is like,
star. He's burning bright.
yes, it's like
You
burning
just
brighter
going
and
out,
brighter,
going
and
down.
you can't look away until finally it like explodes
Yeah.
or something. And that's what the trajectory Elon Musk is on right now. And frankly, as someone who hates incompetent billionaires running society, it's a delight to watch. It is on some level a delight to see.
It's like a car crash, like you were just saying. It's just like
it's
I kind
decadent.
of need to rubberneck a little bit.
It's so tasty. It's so delicious to see someone of his unearned stature, of his unearned power,
Yeah.
finally be given like the means to destroy himself like this. It's been a long time
Love it.
coming, and I only hope the consequences are truly as severe as he deserves them to be. That being said, the latest is this, that Elon Musk is once again in the news because details have surfaced. Thanks to Walter Isaacson, who I believe is getting ready to release his biography of Mr. Musk. This is the same author who wrote the famous Steve Jobs biography, as well as I believe he did Albert Einstein. This is like, it's
So he's
unfair
a legit
that.
biographer.
Oh yeah, he's like the number one. If you want a big profile biography written about you, he's the guy you go to. And I think it's unfair that Elon Musk gets that treatment, but I'm sure
Yeah.
he paid lots of money, and I'm sure Walter needs to eat. So there we go.
Yeah.
So this book is getting ready to come out, and we're in sort of the promo stage of it. So details are sort of surfacing. I believe that's where these come from. But there was an article in the Telegraph that went viral this past week, where new details have surfaced as to why Elon Musk was truly inspired to purchase Twitter, which actually include details about his own daughter, whose name is Jenna. Now, his daughter is in fact transgender, but I do want to make a note to say, and let me see if I can pull up the exact note. Yeah, because people are getting this a little wrong. They think it's because she became transgender, although I'm sure on some level he is a right-wing freak, so I'm sure on some level, subconsciously or otherwise,
There's
it did
like
contribute.
multiple.
Yes,
yeah,
but I
reasons why
do.
She's like,
Yeah, but I will feel remiss if I don't mention that, according to people who know, Mr. Musk had initially rushed to embrace the news when Jenna, formerly known as Xavier, had transitioned at the age of 16. So at some point in time, perhaps Elon was a more stable dude. He wasn't doing ketamine every week like some employees over at headquarters have reported.
Yeah.
Maybe he wasn't K-holing every evening. Maybe he was a semi more stable person. According to people who would know, at first he actually did support his daughter when she transitioned, and I think it's worth at least giving that credit if it happened. Okay, so, but then, apparently, she became radically transformed. This is according to Elon Musk's account, obviously, radically transformed by the $50,000 a year liberal school she attended in California. And Mr. Musk has been quoted as saying she went beyond socialism to being a full communist and thinking that anyone rich is evil. He said, yes, in an interview with Walter Isaacson, who is author of the upcoming biography, that he saw the same mentality had enveloped Twitter. He believed it had been infected by a mindset that suppressed right-wing and anti-establishment voices, and his solution was to buy it. Quote, unless the woke mind virus, which is fundamentally anti-science, anti-merit, and anti-human in general, is stopped, civilization will never become multiplanetary.
Oh my God.
So that is the latest details we've received on why Elon bought a website that he clearly doesn't understand, that is crashing and burning under his leadership. His own personal, professional, social life is also spiraling with that sinking ship that is now titled X. And it's pretty fascinating. First of all, kudos to his daughter. I mean, if your dad was Elon Musk, you would have to be a communist. There's no way.
I would literally send him to some asylum if he was my father. He is crazy. Like, and okay. I need to rewind a little bit because you said like that he said allegedly is saying, oh yeah, if humanity progresses towards socialism, then we're never going to become an interplanetary species. That's what he said.
Yeah.
That's so like, that's just bullshit. Because, okay, I don't know if you've ever seen The Expanse. Have you at all?
Yes, of course, actually.
Okay,
yes.
perfect. Yeah. So that's like basically space where capitalism is still a thing. It's not great,
Nope.
Now, if you want space with socialism, you're going to get Star Trek. Which one would you rather have? Because I'd rather have
Right.
Star Trek.
Right.
Like point blank. And the whole thing is that like, if you're going and venturing towards the left and like want to be, across the galaxy and things like that, like you're taking, okay, I'm just flabbergasted. That's like just such a bullshit answer. I'm sorry. I'm just like, I can't even. Like, that's just so crazy to me because, I mean, the thing that I just remember reading about, like with science fiction, is that like, and just like, if you're on a spaceship with like a mixed crew, a blended crew, whatever, and the spaceship starts failing, you're not going to give a shit if the person's a woman, if they're a person of color, if they're like in the LGBTQ community.
Well, if you're Elon Musk, you might.
Yeah, like, yeah, of course. Yeah. Now, he's like, no, this is only a capitalist only zone.
I've read some stories about the
bullshit.
Tesla factories. The Tesla factory is apparently notoriously racist and otherwise. So Elon's ship might be, yeah.
I support Jenna. I'm Team Jenna on this 1,000%.
Absolutely. No, listen, if Elon Musk was your dad, is the only conclusion you could arrive at is communism, because he is, ever since Trump, he is now the best example of what a lie meritocracy is under America's economic system. The biggest dipshit moron on the planet. Truly, I think you would be hard-pressed to find someone stupider than this man. Was handed wads of cash by his family that was already rich, stumbled and fumbled his way into multiple startups and companies where he had no business being, that have all thrived in his absence or declined in his presence. This is a man who, if left to his own devices, truly, if he was born in the working class or born into poverty, never would have made it out. And one of the few
No.
examples I'd say where someone probably doesn't deserve to. If anyone deserves to starve to death, it's Elon. Parody satire for legal reasons. Parody satire. Okay, good. We get past the YouTube censors. It's deep enough in the video. I don't think they'll catch it.
Lol. It's just a joke because you know what? We don't believe in anyone starving because we're socialist.
Of course,
scary,
yes.
scary,
feed
scary
the people,
socialist.
bread and roses.
Yeah.
Anyway, if
That's
anyone
so
deserves
funny.
if anyone deserves to suffer,
Just
the
a little bit,
consequence of
just
their
enough to
own,
be humbled.
Yes,
You know?
it's Elon. So
Yeah.
of course that's what she became. How could you not? Looking at him, I have no relation to Elon Musk ever. Every time I read a story about him in the week, I
It
become
makes you
more
a
and
little
more.
move a little bit farther to the left.
Yep. I've got
Yeah.
a little space in my apartment right now. I'm building the gulag. I'm building the
So,
anyway, for legal
okay.
reasons, I'm not going to go into detail.
Yeah, no, you're good.
What
So
I'm building.
okay,
I'm
like
not building.
because I kind of when I kind of read through this like little bit, to me I thought he, you know, he bought it because his daughter came out as trans and then associated that with the woke mind virus and things
That's
like
why
that.
I wanted to mention that. You know,
But
I mean,
it was
yeah.
actually because he's claiming, oh, well, we can't get to space if we're socialists.
It's a few things. He's claiming it turned her communist, which I mean, a lot of people will tell you. Twitter's pretty good at doing that actually. Sometimes, like
Yeah.
in terms of
But also,
exposing
it's
people
like
to.
his daughter's an adult. She's allowed to have a different opinion.
Yeah.
You know, so long as there's mutual respect within families, we all have, you know, complicated relationships, whatever. But you know, yeah, okay. So sorry to interrupt. I'm just
No.
like, I'm still like, that's such a bullshit excuse.
It's a lot
I'm
to wrap your head
sorry.
around.
It's like,
it is. But the
Yeah.
beautiful irony here is it's not Twitter that turned her communist. It's Elon himself. It is
Yeah.
like if he was normal and nice and just any way, in any shape, like a decent person, I have no doubt his daughter would never have went down the path that she did. But when you see it that close and personal, you see that nightmare up close and personal, you go, this is a
that
guy.
nightmare.
This is the richest dude on earth. This is the guy that this system anointed to being at the very, very top of the food chain, the biggest success it could possibly produce. And this is the guy, and this is how he acts, and this is how he achieved it. Yeah, no, we got to go the opposite direction. Of course she drew that
Yes.
conclusion. Of course she did. How could you not? So I can only imagine how passionate she is about destroying this system, seeing it that
Yes.
up close and personal. I've never been in the same room as the dude. I'm just simply reading headlines like all of you out there,
Oh,
and even
yeah.
I'm like, this is all the proof you need. We got to steer this ship in a different direction
Yeah.
fast.
I want to read Jenna's biography.
She should be the one. No,
Yeah.
for real. That would be the most fascinating thing on earth. Like how Steve Jobs' daughter got her own biography, and it's a way
Oh,
more
really?
honest depiction of what a nightmare he was as a person. Absolutely.
Love
yeah.
it.
And
That gave me
but-
chills. I would love to read her because I'm
Yes.
sure she's had such a life. I mean, how old is she right now? She's 19-ish.
I think so. She's young.
Yeah. And so, I mean, but like, I mean, I'm sure she's been through a lot.
That's
you
the
know?
sci-fi movie I want to see. Daughters of billionaires becoming transgender communists, and uniting together to form the vanguard that overthrows their dad's economic
Right.
class.
Yeah,
I would watch
exactly.
that. I would watch that.
It'd be
That
kind of
sounds
like a, you know, it kind of reminds me of like a little bit of Inception. Oh, wait, not Inception. What was the one with the Interstellar? Where,
Yes, I've only seen it once. It's been
yeah,
years.
because it was like the daughter was the one that the spaceship was named after and not
Right.
the astronaut, you know? And so
Yes.
it's kind of that same vibe. And you know what just is so crazy to me? Kind of, sorry, I really cannot stand that like Elon Musk said that. We've been in this like capitalism, you know, hyper capitalism bubble for like quite some time now. And every time he shoots off a shuttle, it always explodes. Like we have not reached Mars yet. And yet back in like what, the late 60s, through like American programs, which is socialism, we were able to get to the moon. So, I mean, really, if we want to become like this, like, interplanetary species, I'm just saying it makes more sense to have everything done by the government.
If America's current economic system can't even build high-speed rail in California, which, by the way, no small thanks to Mr. Elon Musk, who purposely promoted his stupid Hyperloop, and then went on record to say that he threw that out there just to destroy any chance of building high-speed public transportation.
Because he wants his Teslas to be
popular? Because he's a car guy. He sells stupid, horrible cars that explode and run over children. And people aren't going to buy exploding cars that run over children if they could just get on a nice, clean subway wherever they need to go fast, like much of the developed Eastern Hemisphere has already accomplished. Anyway, so if this economic system was going to get us, if it can't even get us a fast-moving train, I'm pretty sure it's not going to get us to other planets. But again, this is the dumbest guy on this planet. And if people like him are allowed to be in charge, forget multi-planetary. We're not going to have one planet. We're going to destroy the one we have. It is the opposite of that.
Yes, no, for sure.
So anyway, let us know your thoughts on there's been a lot. There's a lot going on.
Lot. There's a lot going on. It's bananas.
What do you think is going to get us? First of all, is humanity ever going to achieve multiplanetary existence? That's a good question. Let us know what your thoughts are. We actually destined to live in the stars, or is that always going to be like a sci-fi pipe dream? And then this actually segues into next upload. We're going to talk about Starfield, the new Bethesda game, and so I want to hear your thoughts if you've been playing it too before we record that one. So I can sort of go off your feedback. I have a lot of thoughts of my own. Meg hasn't played. She's not a gamer per se, but she's got a lot of questions about it.
Yeah, but I'm a nerd for sci-fi.
So if you're into all the sci-fi stuff that we touched on briefly in this episode, tune into the next one where we go deep into the world of Starfield, which is a future where the humans became multiplanetary as well. Elon Musk thinks he can make that real life. We all know the truth. And then also let us know, did you watch the Tucker Carlson, Larry Sinclair Power Hour? And do you believe it? Is there a reason? Did we overlook some details? Is it somehow actually credible? I doubt it. But let us know what you think about all these things. And if there's anything particularly insightful or interesting, and we have time, we will obviously read your comments as we have in the past. Meg, do you have any final thoughts for our folks this week?
No, I don't. I mean, the only thing that I'd say is that if you support our channel, if you support what we're doing and you'd like to see us grow and Solidarity Media grow, you can go and support us on Patreon at patreon.com/solidaritymedia.
Join the fight to destroy Elon Musk today.
Yeah, I know. We will always do good Elon Musk. I really do not like him. So yeah. Anyways, that's going to be it for this episode. Trev, you're amazing as always. And
thank you. As are you.
Thank you. And I'm excited to hear all about Starfield. So
yes, next video, guys. Everybody tune in.
All right.
It's going to be fun.